As I'm coming to you, as I'm speaking this, it is the last day of May in 2011. Tomorrow, June 1st, the state of Illinois begins issuing civil union licenses to anyone who wants one, any couple who wants one, same sex especially. I can't believe some of the things that I have seen online today, one of which is an ad regarding a civil union. Welcome back to Rob's Speak Today. This is episode number 120, and I'm Rob Schendel. Maybe you're a college student living in a dorm. Maybe you just live in a small studio apartment. What you need to do is get over to dormco.com/Rob. Once you're there, you'll find all kinds of items specifically designed for folks living in small spaces. That's dormco.com/Rob. Boy, was Chicago hopping over this past weekend. Now it's Tuesday. But starting like Wednesday of last week, tourists galore, bears galore, Leathermen galore, all visiting us here in Chicago. And did we have fun? It was so great meeting any of you who I've never saw before, plus some old friends who I don't get to see all that often either. But I also missed a few of my friends. I don't know why. I just didn't get to see them all. But was I tired after that was over with? You know, I had to work extra days, and I'm just not used to that. I can work here in front of a computer, but be running around waiting on people and trying to be cheerful and nice. Did meet some great folks. But you know what I didn't do real well? I should have given up my little cards about Rob's Feed Today. Let other people know about it, especially people I had just met. Well, oh well. Maybe it's always next time, I suppose. But I did give out a couple cards that invite people to watch this podcast, and if you're here because of that, hey, nice to see you again, and thank you for stopping by. And all of you, thank you for downloading, and thank you for watching. Well, as I said, now tomorrow is the first day that gay couples can get a license acknowledging their relationship. The civil unions law goes into effect, and already I've seen some of the right wing are trying to get a ballot initiative to throw that law out. And I was going through my Gmail. I was looking at Rob Speed's Gmail things. It's a Gmail account. You know, you get your email there. And at the top, Gmail always does this. They have Google Ads. And so right around the top, there's this dissolve civil unions. And I'm thinking that these right-wingers have actually bought Google Ads to promoting the fact that they want to kill this bill, this law. It's now a law. It's not a bill any longer. No, I was wrong. That's not what it was. Already, talk about opportunists. Gmail has an ad there because it's cued to what I'm reading. And here it is. Dissolve civil union. Simple case, one fee, $1,500 payment, whatever. I gotta look at this closer. Simple case, total $1,500 payments. Attorney, Chicago, Oak Brook, Gurney. www.theillinoisattorney.com. I can't believe an opportunist like that. No wonder attorneys get such a bad rap. I've always felt kind of bad. You know, I was always picking on the attorneys. Well, no wonder. Who's going to want a divorce tomorrow? Who wants their today? It's not. It's enough to drive a boy nuts. Opponents of the Illinois civil unions law that take effect this week want a referendum that allows people to vote on the measure. The Chicago Tribune reports on demonstrations held in downtown Chicago Friday between supporters and opponents of the new law, which would give same-sex couples, I'm reading this as you can tell, same-sex couples and civil unions the same rights as married people. Illinois will begin issuing these licenses on Wednesday, followed by a ceremony for 30 same-sex couples in Millennium Park the next day. There's a battle between gay rights and religious freedom, said Peter LaBarbera, president of Americans for Truth, as he showed people how to complete the signature sheets on which he and other opponents will try to collect the required 300,000 signatures. We want to give Illinois voters the same opportunity other states have had. Civil unions launched the drive for an advisory referendum petition on a constitutional amendment to ban marriage and marriage-like rights for same-sex couples. If the petition garners enough signatures, it would head to voters in 2012, where a majority would need to approve it in order for the state legislature to take up the amendment, which would then return to voters for a final vote. How many times have we said, and we're backed up on this, civil rights are not issues that should be decided at the ballot. If they were, we would not have the civil rights laws of the 60s. Black people would still be relegated to the back of the bus. There would be no progress at all. You do not vote on people's rights. And here they want to bring us back into the dark ages once again. And it's not going to happen. It will not happen. Because the last polls, more than 50% of the people in this country favor same-sex marriage equality. Why is that? Well, more than 50% of the people know and like, and maybe even love, a gay person. Thank you to everyone who's had the courage to come out publicly and let their friends, let their family know that, hey, I'm gay. Do you still love me? Of course you still love me. It is kind of neat to live in a progressive state, but it's not the most progressive state. Ever think, this state is like never on my radar screen. It's not a place that I think about as far as eventually relocating someday, but it's like, wow, gotta rethink Vermont. Vermont is so cool. Way back when, I don't even know when it was, Vermont was the first state to allow, what we in Illinois are only getting tomorrow, civil unions for same-sex couples. And what are they doing now? This is really interesting to me. Vermont made history last week by becoming the first state in the union to offer single-payer health care. And that was when Governor Peter Shumlin signed its health care reform bill into law. This plan, called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, will attempt to stem rising medical care prices and provide universal coverage. How wonderful. Just, wow. And that's, of course, they have representing them in the United States Senate, the one independent progressive Senator Bernie Sanders. It's like, wow. Is that his name, Bernie Sanders? I'm jealous. Now just contrast that with my home state, Wisconsin, and all the shit that's going on there right now. If you remember the attempt by the Republicans, and actually it passed, to kill collective bargaining, that means that there's no place for unions anymore. Well, that and a bunch of other shit they tried to pull. Well, that law, which the Governor Snotwalker, signed into law, has been ruled unconstitutional by Dane County Judge Marianne Sumi, I think her name is. That's because they did it without warning. You have to give 24 hours notice when you're going to vote in your legislative sessions, and they didn't. They did it under the cover of night, the dark, and well, that's going to be up to appeal, as you know. That was when, if you recall, the 14 Democratic members of the Wisconsin State Senate fled the state so they couldn't be brought in and make a quorum to make the whole process legal. Well, the Republicans who voted for that and who are eligible meaning they had been in office for more than a year, are getting recalled. Petitions have been circulating, flowing around, and whoever certifies these recall petitions have looked at the ones circulated by the Democrats against the Republicans and found them to be perfect. Just every T crossed, every I dotted, and fine. Well, Republicans couldn't let this happen, so they had to do the same against a few of the Democratic senators. So what did they do? They hired out-of-state professional signature gatherers to get signatures against the Democrats. Well, none of them are passing muster. They're just dead people galore, people who are attesting to the fact that they were misled on what the purpose was, what the reason was. They were told they were signing in support of a Democratic senator, when indeed they were not. Just a thievery and skullduggery like there's no tomorrow. It's just simply unbelievable. I cannot understand, but that's what's happening. It's not going to happen. In about a month or so, I predict that Wisconsin's Republican-controlled state Senate will switch to being Democrat. Now, also up there in Wisconsin, the governor has decided to, and I don't know how he's doing this, if it's by executive order or what. He only took office in January. Prior to that, the previous governor, in response to a protection of marriage amendment that, again, the voters had to go and pass, the Democrats then allowed for registered couples to at least have hospital visitation rights. And Scott Walker's trying to dismantle that right now, too. Look at that. Look at Vermont. Look at Illinois. What a mess. Wisconsin, shame on you. And of course, I haven't even mentioned the fact that this new Republican budget on the federal level that was drafted by a Wisconsin Congressman, Paul Ryan, that would literally kill Medicare. Oh, but don't worry about it. If you're 55 or over, it won't affect your benefits at all. Like, people over 55 don't care about people who are under 55. Well, they're getting kicked in the ass. I've said this before. I've speculated that I had an episode called GOP RIP, rest in peace. Look what happened in New York State. Congressional District number 26. The most Republican, the reddest congressional district in the state of New York. This district last was anything but Republican back in around 1860. This is also where, you remember the congressman who took his shirt off and solicited sex on Craigslist? Well, he resigned, so now here's a special election to replace him. 2 women ran. The Republican woman said she would have supported Paul Ryan's budget. The Democratic woman said, well, we have a plan for Medicare. It is Medicare. We preserve it. Even in the reddest of red, the Democrat won. And by a comfortable margin, too. This is not over. This is going to be happening everywhere. And it may very well mean that we won't have Republicans winning elections for quite a while. If that indeed happens, the way I suggest it might, the way I hope it might, may predict it might, I guess we all owe thank you notes to Paul Ryan, Scott Walker, and for that matter, let's send them off to Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann, too. One of the things that just bugs the shit out of me when I'm doing this podcast is that there's never enough time to really tell you everything that's on my mind. So I hope that to get more of a feel, you might follow me on Twitter and Facebook as well. Just submit a friend request, mention you're a podcast watcher, and you'll see everything that goes on in my brain And Twitter, you can follow yourself without even me knowing about it. Just follow Rob's Feed Today. That's twitter.com/Rob's Feed Today. And as things pop into my mind, you'll know about it too. Now, a few episodes back, I shared with you something that really turns me on. And I guess people kind of like that. So I'm going to show you another one that's nice. If I could get into that. And now, after having said all that, please, I want to thanks the advocate.com for the story, and the Chicago Tribune, by the way, for story information. But beyond that, I think I'll show you the slide, and that's all I'm going to say.